When you're ready.
Modern construction has come a long way from its old primitive kind of methods. From skyscrapers to a 24-mile-long bridge, the technology in modern construction has changed a lot when compared to the meek stone buildings of the ancient world. Our ancestors' structures cannot compare to the man's grace via contemporary construction. But this does not mean this trend will continue. Erza Clean wrote in the New York Times in 2023, "We're getting worse at construction." In our modern economy, people are settling for cheap and poor construction techniques, cutting corners to save money, and building bigger structures for similar cost. In the past few decades, construction equipment has become better, and construction workers can complete jobs with less effort and be safer while doing so. In the current economy, the building quality is worsening and causing construction projects to be poorly and cheaply built. The quality of construction has been on the decline in recent years. This is due to a multitude of factors, including inexperienced labor, a labor shortage, and expensive materials. Labor is in high demand lately in America. There is more work to be done than there are qualified workers to complete it. ABC said in 2022 the construction industry will need to attract nearly 6,500,000 more workers in addition to the normal pays to meet the normal pays for hiring in 2022. There is an approximately additional 30 million missing workers from the workforce. The growing demand for labor in the construction industry and the shortage of labor throughout the profession has led to them to hire inexperienced and less skilled workers. The combination of being understaffed and having inexperienced workers makes jobs take longer. A project being late is often an incentive for a contractor to cut corners or worsen the quality to keep a customer happy. Similarly to the increasing high demand for workers in the construction industry, the demand and price of building materials has risen. The high prices of building materials may lead to contractors or architects to choose cheaper alternatives, like plywood. In 2022, the National Association of Home Builders said the building material price has risen 20.4% over the year and has risen 33% since the start of the pandemic. This huge increase in price of materials has drastically increased the price to build a home. Many companies choose plywood as an alternative to bricks, concretes, and other stronger woods. The result of the companies opting to use cheaper woods has led to buildings being constructed with worse quality than the older buildings. My solution to this is to use ancient building techniques to improve the issues with modern construction methods. Although modern construction is more advanced and objectively better than ancient buildings, many of the techniques are still valuable and can be used to improve the quality of construction. A good example of where ancient techniques can be used is to improve modern buildings is in Haiti. In 2010, an earthquake struck Haiti that rated 7 on the Richter scale. The earthquake destroyed infrastructure all over the country. The earthquakes also led to the death of an estimated 230,000 people, and displaced and severe injuries to tens of thousands more, said Hill in 2016. These buildings were flimsy and did not stand a chance against an earthquake. When rebuilding their homes, the Haitians can take inspiration from the Hajiru Pagoda in Japan. This structure is able to withstand earthquakes. To be precise, it's able to withstand earthquakes at 7.0 or higher, and has survived 46 of these in its history. And it was built in 607 AD. It has a few distinct features that allow it to withstand earthquakes. It doesn't have a central load-bearing beam, and each floor isn't connected to another, but stacked on top of each other with loose-fitting brackets holding them together. During a shake, the floors will sway in a slithering fashion, with each other moving in the opposite direction, one of the one immediately above and below. This allows the building to move with the seismic waves and survive unharmed. If the Haitians use this ancient technique, future earthquakes will do considerably less damage. The Kashi people in India have a unique problem to overcome. They live in a rainforest that receives more rainfall than anywhere else on Earth, said Watson in 2020. In the monsoon season, the rivers overflow, making their homes into islands. Normal walking bridges will be easily flooded by the high levels, and concrete bridges are too expensive for their human people to build. Furthermore, it is nearly impossible to bring all the necessary materials and equipment to the river since the forest is too dense to easily move supplies through. The Acacia needs a way to create a bridge to cross the rivers during the monsoon season, so they use ancient techniques of using trees to make bridges. This 1,500-year-old tradition of growing live root bridges has produced 75 of these incredible structures at once. These trees take multiple generations, about 50 years per bridge, and last centuries. This ancient technique of guiding the limbs of trees and weaving them together to form a luscious bridge allows the people to traverse through the jungle even during harsh floods. The Kashi people are a great example of how ancient techniques for construction can still be used in modern situations, and when our heavy, big, and our machines are unable to function. The pros of using ancient techniques are they can improve modern buildings and raise their overall quality. Ancient techniques can also last many times longer than modern, cheaply built homes. And the cons are it would take longer to build more complex buildings. It would also be more expensive to build using ancient techniques. In conclusion, modern construction is on the decline. A solution to this problem is using ancient techniques to improve modern building.
I'll add a soundtrack.
All right. I'll have a couple of questions. How did your research question evolve as you moved through the research process?
My research question started off as how ancient buildings are better than modern poorly built ones. But I quickly realized that there wasn't a significant or sufficient amount of evidence, and I decided to change my question to how can ancient techniques improve modern buildings?
Okay. What additional questions emerged from your research, and why are they important?
An additional question that emerged from my research was how does culture affect construction standards in a region? This question is important because in my research I apply techniques from one culture to another. I am applying if these techniques clash with what is accepted in the region, then my solution will be irrelevant.